the whole artists, athletes, celebrities are cool. They're not. That's just what someone thinks is cool at the time. It's just like any other job. It's just as stressful as an accountant that's, working with a billionaire's money. Like, they could lose at any time, and that stress, if they can make one bad decision, financial decision, and ruin someone's life, we could do that too. If I say something stupid by accident, there's people that aren't going to get paid anymore because they believed in me. Nashville's more farming, where you would, you're kind of in a tractor, you're doing something. So most people don't wear country hats. It's kind of an act.
Yeah, okay.
Or cowboy hats, sorry.
Yeah.
It's an act.
Hat. I mean, that's what they call them, hat acts.
Well, Mitchell Tenpenny, welcome to the Gents Talk podcast.
I'm happy to be here.
No, we're happy to have you.
Yeah.
Welcome to Toronto.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a little nervous. You're like, I'm ready to get into it. Yeah, here we go.
Well, I don't know what Syl told you before coming in, but we just want to have a conversation with you because you're doing some pretty cool stuff. You're touring. You're playing a show. You're playing a show here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing tomorrow.
Yeah. So tomorrow,
Budweiser
that's
stage,
September 7th.
Yes.
Yeah, we're filming on the 6th of September, everyone.
I always have to look too. I never know.
But excited to have this conversation with you because I think I was reading, and I'll start right from here and say that I was reading an interview you had done, and I can't recall who the journalist was, so forgive me, but you were talking about how, when you're writing songs, you're really trying to get into your feels. You're really trying to bring it from a place of authenticity.
Yeah.
What does music mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a feeling to me. It's a nostalgia. It's a peace of mind, honestly. I mean, I was saying this earlier too, talking. It's when I'm happy, I want to hear a sad song. When I'm sad, when I'm sad, I want to hear a happy song. It's sometimes music doesn't always have to fit the mood you're in. Sometimes it just reminds you of another mood that you had before.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's a universal language. It can put you in a different mood. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's like the artists I fell in love with and the songs I go to, it puts me in a mood. It's like if I'm right here and I want to get here, I have a song for that.
Yeah.
And that's what it's always been for me. That's what drew me to it. And I wanted to create moods for people because it helped me. And also I thought, maybe I could create moods for myself, but I don't really like listening to my own music. So I found that out pretty quick because I have to hear it over and over again when I'm recording it. And but it's always an honor when you see somebody saying that they got that mood out of something you did, and that's always been the goal. And so to see it come to fruition, to hear people, and especially in this day and time with social media, DM and be like, man, this song got me through this, or this really helped here. I mean, that's everything, man. That's why you do it.
Yeah. What's so powerful about being able to influence someone like that? Like, why does that grip you so much?
That's a good question. I've always in sport, I think it comes from sports for me. I've always been a captain or a leader on the team. I've always wanted to be the blame on the losses and be a part of the team on the wins. It's just how I've been raised. I saw that through my grandmother, who was this powerful, amazing woman that just didn't take shit from anybody, especially in a time when women didn't stand a chance almost, and she just worked her way up from receptionist to president of Sony Publishing. Said, I don't give a shit. But I watched her do that with this grace, this Southern Belle grace of just loving people, but also being a badass. And that's what taking the L's on your shoulders and putting the wins on everyone else's. And with that comes a peace of mind that I guess we keep coming back to. To me, that's just how my brain works. It's how I function. It's how I like building a team. It's how I feel the most safe and comfortable, where I can I'm happy to call the losses and put it all on me, but I like to share wins more than anything in the world. I like to stand on stage with my best friends and accept an award and to do that with them. It's fun for me. And I've always wanted to be. I love coaching. I love that because I had great coaches growing up. I had great people coach me and influence me, and I've seen what that can do. And so I think it's just a part of the full circle. You owe it back. You got to pay it forward. And I've done that since it's just been what I've wanted to do since I was a kid. Whatever I can do, I want to help other people figure out what they want to do. Yeah. I guess that's truly what it is.
What sport you play?
Played all sports, but football ended up being what I thought I was going to do.
What position?
I played linebacker, tight end. Yeah, my back. I pay for it now every day I wake up. But I loved it because it taught me about a team. In football, there's 11 people on the field. If you're worried about someone else doing their job, then you're not going to be able to do yours. And when you're only worried about doing your job and you trust the other 10, you win. We won a championship. I learned what buying into a system, believing in each other does. I've seen it. I've been through it, and we won. And so when I'm building a team, if you're always watching over somebody or just being that shadow on the wall, just staring at people and not letting them do what they do best, that's when they freak out. That's when nothing happens. That's when it all collides. But when you work in a harmony and you trust everybody, it's when the best team happens. And I learned that from sports. And so I try to carry that on with my stuff too. And I don't know, man. I mean, I love teams. I just truly love teams. I hate like anything I have to do by myself. I always bring somebody with me. Like I had to shoot a music video for a song we just did called Bigger Mistakes, and my manager's like, we're gonna go to Vegas. And first off, I hate going to Vegas.
Why?
Because I make big mistakes in Vegas. Like I said. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna bring my other guitar player with me. He's one of my best friends. Like, can he come? I just need somebody. I need someone to do it with.
Yeah.
I always like bringing people along, and I don't know. That's just the way I am. It's my comfort zone. Yeah. I like to share things with people. I get nothing out of doing anything by myself. I truly don't. And that's not just saying that. I love sharing experiences with each other. Yeah. Whether it's smoking weed the first time or celebrating, hit songs together. I love sharing experiences.
Well, you recently put out an Instagram post about a song you wrote with your best friends.
Yeah.
What was the thought process there? Like, you just decided to regroup and...
Yeah. So when we started writing, when we all got our publishing deals, was around 7 or 8 years ago. And for people that don't know, a publishing deal is you get signed as a songwriter, and your job is to write songs every single day, and they'll pitch your song to other artists, and hopefully that artist cuts your song, and hopefully that song makes the record, and then hopefully that record becomes a single. And there's so many lives.
Cut that song.
Cut that song. Cutting means record the song. Okay. Sorry, that's a term. That's just
I've heard it and I'm like, cut the record.
Yeah, you think like cut it off. No, it means like
said it before. I just never knew what it meant.
Yeah, it means like I got to cut. Like a cut means he's recording the song. He or she is recording the song. And so when we all started together, we were all writing together. But when we all got publishing deals, then your publishers start making you write with other people. And so everyone had their own success spidered out in their own ways. And so it's fun to sit back down and be like, hey, man, congrats. We were all talking about one day, having a #1 song, doing this stuff. But now that it's all happened, we don't ever do it how we started. And so getting back to that core group again was awesome. And yeah, we got history together, and it just kind of popped out because it just felt like old times. It felt like natural. It felt organic. And it was just fun, man. And those are some of my best friends. I couldn't be more proud of them and what they've accomplished and the songs that they've written. And yeah, man, it's just good to sit back and start where you came from, man. Get back to where you come from.
And what, like, to go backwards, and then you're at a point now where you're starting to see growth in the career, you're getting notoriety, you're selling out shows, you're touring, you're doing all these things. Why is it so important to take a step back from that and go, I want to go back to my roots?
Sanity, mental health, man. I mean, it is. It's not real. The whole artists, athletes, celebrities are cool. They're not. That's just what someone thinks is cool at the time. It's just like any other job. It's just as stressful as an accountant that's, working with billionaires' money. Like they could lose at any time, and that stress, you know, if they can make one bad decision, financial decision, and ruin someone's life, you know, we could do that too. If I say something stupid by accident, there's people that aren't going to get paid anymore because they believed in me to, you know, to go with me and to make money off of what this looks like, you know, this trajectory. And so that pressure just sucks. It's not why you pick up a guitar as a kid. And so that's real life. That's the adulting. That's the job. And that's anybody's job. We all can make mistakes and fuck up our jobs. And so like to get back to feel like a kid again is healthy. Yeah. It's when you had no worries. When you're in college and you're writing songs, not because if you don't have a hit, you're screwed, because you like writing songs. Yeah. And you like hanging out with your friends, and you like, you know, talking shit and drinking beer and, you know, just catching up, man. It's a mental reset. And I think it's important. I think friendships and a good foundation of and I mean in the diversity of what everyone does. Don't just surround yourself with artists. If like for my career, all my friends that I was in band with, I got accountants, I got plumbers, I've got printers, you know, all over the place. And we don't care. We're just friends again. Like nobody talks about their job or what we do, and I love that because that's so fake. No one cares. Like truly, nobody cares. We care about, you know, what we cared about then. Yeah. And so I still got a fantasy football league that we've had for 17 years.
Dude, we were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, I just did a fantasy football.
Nice.
Mine was like 12 years.
Wow. Yeah.
12, 13 years with at least 8 of them are the same core guys.
Yeah, man.
And it's crazy. Like that really builds. Like, do you do a live draft?
Yes, we get together.
That is the best.
All my high school buddies.
Year,
Oh my gosh, I tell my wife, it's one of my most. We just eat a bunch of pizza, grab a couple beers, sit down there, and just catch up and talk shit about each other's teams. It's so much.
I'm like, I'm not even a big fantasy. I'm like, I pay over $100 to pretty much talk shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. Like,
it's
that's
to
what I
have
do.
that
So
catch up.
I can release and just talk, and I'm pissed, and I piss them all off.
Yeah,
every single one of them, like all the other pissed. But then I see them, it's like, how you doing, buddy? It's like, I love you too, man. Like, you know, but it's like, all year I'm just like, I can't stand you. Hope you lose. Your team sucks. Person you drafted is stupid. Let's make a stupid bet. Like, you know, all year.
It's why do we love that? It's because there's no risk to that.
Yeah.
It's just reward. There's no risk to that. It's not losing $100. It's literally being able to hang out and just like that is literally nowhere in the world. Yeah. That's just fantasy football with your buddies. I came home so just refreshed and happy to my wife after that night, just getting to talk with my friends again. And full circle back to what we were talking about. It's important to slow down and do that because it's a reset. You always got to restart a computer sometime when it starts bugging out. Yeah. You know, take the N64 game out, blow on it a little bit, throw it back in there. We all need to get cleaned out a little bit sometimes. And man, I think it's healthy. And especially as I get older and been doing this a lot longer, I cherish those and put those in my calendar. For the health and the mental health part of it. I mean, it's important.
Yeah. So speaking of getting older. Happy belated birthday.
Thanks, man.
You just recently celebrated.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
34 years old.
34. Yeah. What do you know now at 34 that you didn't know when you first started?
Oh, man. A lot of things. Patience has been a virtue. No, it's... I guess back to what we're talking about more... When I started, it was all about... I got to get the number one. I got to get on this tour and this stuff. And then, like, to me, and this is all humbleness aside, like, I expect to do that. When I go out to do something, I expect to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm very grateful and humbled when this stuff has happened. But I didn't think it wouldn't. Like, I'm not saying that, like, arrogantly. I was like, I wanted it to, and that was the plan.
There was a belief there.
It's what I wanted to do. Yeah. And so when it happens and you think it's like, it's not, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you should celebrate. I was like, well, I already won I already did that in my head. That's like, I just assumed this would happen. Yeah. So it's like, you have these people trying to tell you how to celebrate the same way you have people try to tell you how to grieve when bad things happen. It's like, man, I think we all, you don't understand. Like for instance, like I've lost family members and stuff. Dad had kids. It's like when it happens, they're like, why aren't you crying? I was like, well, I've already expected this. Mm-hmm. I already went there. Right. So to me, it's all preparation. Preparation is important for your mind, for stability. And I do that on every level of my life. so that when whatever happens, good or bad, when it gets there, I can stay pretty even. And if it freaks people like, well, you're ungrateful. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like I'm not ungrateful at all. I'm just like this was the plan. And what I'm scared of is what's next. Is there something? Am I going to be able to keep up with everybody else's expectations and stuff? And then you get in your own head and you start creating some that was never part of your plan. Because now you're like, well, I got to come up with something, and it's
based on what other people.
Yes, exactly, and it's a big jumbled mess, man. And it's so I think from what I knew earlier, I didn't know any of that, to now how to kind of prioritize and look back and do a little bit of celebrating when you reach some of these milestones, because you don't always have to be looking towards the next thing. That was
that's a hard one.
It's tough, man, especially in this day and time. Out of sight, out of mind. What's next? I mean, a horrible event can happen on Earth and people forget about it in a week. Yeah. Let alone your career. Yeah. So it's But when as you get older, I think you start caring about things that, family, friends, like we talked about, that kind of give you a breath. It allows you to take a breath now and kind of focus on the bigger picture, which is, man, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, it's going to do what it's going to do. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. Like there's no, at the end of the day, it's not going to go any further than it was supposed to go, and it ain't going to go any less than it is. And so I think that's what I learned more than I didn't know. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, all you can control is like where you're at. If I'm mentally good and everything's working out, then I'm at my best. If I'm not, I don't stand a chance. So that's what I focus on now more than anything.
Nice. I want to touch on, you're saying how your brain works. I was wondering, as a songwriter, is it do you set time away to write a song? Is it sometimes you're just inspired right away? Do you have to be in a certain mood, certain room?
I miss that. I miss writing that way, because when it's become a job, it's I can take out my phone right now and show you the calendar. It's I don't know, next week when I'm home, our publishers will have put in at 11 o'clock, show up at this place, and here's the 2 people you're writing with that day. So we're set up to write with different people every day, and we don't know what we're writing until we get there and we sit down just like this, just have a conversation for about 30 minutes, talk to shit, and then we'll figure out something to write about. But that's so structured, and I don't always have something to write about every day at 11 o'clock.
So you gotta show up with something.
It's like, dude, I have nothing. Hopefully you do. And it is sometimes one person will have a great idea and then it's boom. Now my head's going off. But right. I don't always have an idea going into it, and so I miss the spontaneousness of when I was starting, and it wasn't a job of I'm riding home in my Mercury Mountaineer that's squeaking like crazy, and all of a sudden that made me think of something. I want to get home immediately and pick up the guitar midnight. Well, it doesn't matter what it is, but now it's so scheduled. It's like, if that starts happening in my brain, I'll write it down to my phone so that I can write it at 11 o'clock the next day instead of writing it then. And
can you schedule creativity?
They try. Yeah. So
do you find it constricts you?
Yes, yeah, for sure. And that's why I try to write with if we're gonna schedule it, try to write with my best friend so I can be a little unrestricted. But it's just kind of how the business part of it works. Now, as of recently, I have found on the bus, on the road, I've finally put a guitar in the bus. Nice. And because it's around, I pick it up more again. Yeah. Not just they got to a point where a couple years, I'm just playing guitar when I'm on stage. I'm not practicing when I'm off stage. I'm not, I'm playing, or when I'm writing a song, I'm not sitting down and just picking up a guitar because I walked by it. And that's what got it all started. That's where the fire grew. Yeah. And so I made a thing. I put a guitar in every room of my house now, and very accessible, and so I can walk through and I just pick it up, and it's been awesome to do that, because now I'm writing riffs again. I'm getting inspired again, because it's I'm making a known effort to do it again that way, instead of making it so, like you said, scheduled.
Yeah. Which
is it's tough.
I want to go back to, you mentioned your dad.
Yeah.
He passed from cancer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, man. A lot of people have dealt with this crap. So.
Well, I want to know how, if I may, I want to know how you dealt with it, because you said that it sounded like you said you processed it before it actually happened.
Yeah. So I mean, mom and dad. So I have a younger brother, 3 years younger than me. My only sibling. He plays bass with me. He's been on the road with me forever, and we're very close. We weren't super close growing up. That 3-year difference is like the where you battle.
You butt heads.
You butt heads. Until you can have a beer in college, and everything changes. But our mom and dad were amazing parents. They did everything in the world for us, and which means they also kept a lot of shit from us. Which, they didn't let us know how sick he was. And I was in college, and my brother was in high school, and always, when they go to the doctor, they come back with new, all the optimistic shit, not the real shit. Right. And I've talked to my mom about that, especially now. She's got breast cancer. She actually, on my birthday, she had, last year she got diagnosed. She's actually cancer free. She told me on my birthday now, which is great.
Congratulations.
So, stoked on that. But when she called me and my brother to tell me that she had cancer, I made sure that I said, well, we ain't going to do what happened with Dad. You're going to tell me everything. And I want to know exactly everything. Because when it came down to Dad's last, week or so, I didn't know. I just got a call from college, hey, come home. And so I didn't get to say everything I want. I didn't get to process that. But all I needed was a week to say, no, he's going to die. And, and that's all I needed to, like, when it happened, to not just, like, break down and bawl crying. And, when the funeral, I'm sitting there. I mean, I definitely teared up and had my moments. But sure. It's just like I was able to process that. I wish I'd have been able to process what I wanted to say to him longer. I can handle bad things. That happens to everybody. But when it comes to death, I want to tell people everything. And I guess that applies to just living. I think you should just tell everyone everything now, because it could happen at any moment. Not everyone gets the luxury of knowing how much time they have left.
Sure.
If that is a luxury. I think, if you do have that, then you should use that to your benefit, because some people don't. And so I told my mom, I was like, I understand why y'all did it and why you kept it from me and my brother, but you got to understand that as a son, I didn't get to say everything I wanted to say to him, because those last days are all, plugged in and, injected with all kinds of shit to make him comfortable. And I don't know how much he heard. I like to think he heard a lot, but that's the difference now. And that's another thing from starting to getting older, that wisdom of knowing, hey, I want to know, not just don't hide it from me. And to Mom's defense, I was a hypochondriac, like a crazy growing up, like a kid. I always had something, like if I, something in my arm, oh, this bump, I'm dying. I've got, it was crazy. So I know where it comes from. And my dad was the strongest dude in the world, selfless as anything. I mean, gave up every dream he had to support me and my brother. So I know why they did it. But that's why I told my mom when that happened. And when, through the music industry and my charity, I've got a cancer charity, I've gotten to meet the best in the world with cancer. And when my mom told me that, I made a phone call the second I left, and we got her in with the best. And that's a God thing for me. Thank you for the people that you put in my life that I've met since then. And I wish I had those connections back then, but I wasn't in the music industry then. And so it's having that honesty has been everything. I think it's healthier. It's brought me and my mom closer. Just not that we were far apart, but we just don't share a lot. She was a very mother-father type love, where it's they keep the mother and father part, the husband and wife, that stuff's so private, and which I do think there's a good balance to that. And the kids don't need to know everything. Mm-hmm. But now as I get older, I'm like, hey, well, I'm here. I guess I'm taking the role now of dad, and I need to know everything. I want to know everything, because if I don't, I can't help, and it doesn't help me.
Have you reconciled the fact that you didn't get to say everything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever truly reconcile that. I just understand it. And that's where I think faith for me comes in. I do believe I'll be able to see him again someday. I have to. That's just my personal, how I believe, how I cope with things. I don't believe the way I was raised. I was raised in Christian schools and very down the middle Bible, and I don't believe everything the same way that I was taught like that. I believe in a God. I believe in the spiritualness of it. I believe that there's something way bigger than me, and and if if I'm wrong, then I'm right where everything. Then I'm right where it is anyway. Way, so it does. So I like to always believe there's someone better than me and bigger than me. And Dad said that too. Every time I'd have a good game at sports, hey Mitchell, great game. Remember, there's always someone better than you. And the same, hey Mitchell, bad day. Remember, there's always someone worse, having a worse one. So those two extremes have kind of guided me through the whole thing. And I think when it comes to reconcile, I just hear him saying, hey, bad day, someone's got it worse. Someone lost their mom and their dad. Someone,
Sure. Yeah.
So that's how I reconcile. It's not, it's definitely not, I don't have it the worst. I don't have it the best. And I can live very, very good knowing that.
So you're 34 and this happened 8 years ago. So you were 26.
I was 25, so 25. Yeah, I'm not good at math.
If we were to meet 25-year-old Mitchell, what would we see?
Oh man, I mean, right there, like
in that moment.
I was taking care of everyone else, for sure. Yeah, I mean, my brother especially, mom. It was just almost like obvious that it's my job now. I'm taking over his job. And my grandmother, so she ran the family, because she, like I said, she was a badass that worked her way up to president, running things in town, like when the Nashville was the hottest. And I mean, she signed everyone from Taylor Swift to Brooks and Dunn, as songwriters. And she kind of led the family. Every birthday, we'd go to her house. Every Christmas, everything. She was a leader, and she got sick. And, literally became from president to couldn't put her own clothes on. Like some kind of, she flatlined from E. coli, that lack of oxygen to the brain. Literally it was almost like an Alzheimer's, but it wasn't Alzheimer's. But that's the only way I can explain it. We took her everywhere, Mayo, no one could figure it out. But from losing that staple of our family to then Dad, it was just next in line. Simba, here we come. It's what it was. And so I didn't really have time to think about it. It's just the way humans work. It's just the way, you watch animals work. It's the next in line, and you kind of just take that. So, my wife talks to me too. It's like, have you had time to process that? And I'm like, I have. It's just not in the way that you would have processed it. And that's what everybody thinks. It's like,
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And I always say that to people now that they're losing their parents, because what advice do you give? There's no advice. There's nothing like, hey, if you need anything. That's always the easy one. Like, we don't need anything. But what I tell them is, literally, I say, hey, grieve the way you want to grieve.
Yeah.
That is the advice. I say, don't let anyone tell you how to grieve. Grieve how you want. If you want to be happy and act like it's not happening, fine, do it. If you want to bawl out in a ball and cry, and do it. But don't let anyone tell you how to do it. That's the advice when you lose somebody close to you. That I have. I'm not going to sit here and say, and I will call me if you need anything, for sure. I'll be there in a heartbeat, but that doesn't do anybody any good. Right. What I would have liked to have heard is, hey, however you're dealing with that, that's okay. And so that's what I try to tell people when they're going through this shit, man.
Yeah, that's true, because everybody grieves differently. That's what they say, right?
Absolutely.
It's hard to be able to, because there's so much, you don't know how close that person is to you. So obviously the outside is like, yo, you're not crying. It's like, well, you don't know if I cried later, or I might cry later, or how long it takes me to process this. Because for me, I think about but when my grandmother dies, it's like, for me, I know it's gonna take me a while to process that. So I might not cry at first, because in my mind, she's still not gone yet, right?
It's like they're on a long vacation.
Yeah, and then it's like it takes a while to realize, now that it hits, might hit you 3-4 months later, which it does to some people.
It did for me. It took about 8 months for it to really hit. We were in a van. And I always drove. I don't trust my guys driving. Before we got buses and everything, and we were traveling the country in a van. And I remember we were in the middle of nowhere, somewhere outside of Kansas, going to a show, dead tired. All the guys are asleep in the back. It's raining. We're on tour, not making any money, but our songs are starting to get played on the radio. And so we got this good stuff happening, but I'm exhausted. And it's raining, and I'm just looking at the wheel, and then all of a sudden it just hit me, because I just wanted to tell him, I just wanted to call and be like, hey, I'm out on the road right now. This is happening. But I couldn't. And then, dude, that's where it just now I just start bawling, crying, driving. All the dudes are asleep. And then And that's all it took. And then after that, 20 minutes, it was like, I'm good. That's all I needed. And that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. It just has to be that come to realization that it's real. He's not on that long vacation. She's not on that long vacation. Because I deal with it every day with my wife. I mean, I don't see her as much, but I know she's coming back. Yeah. I know I'll see her. And so to me, I can lose people for months at a time and be okay with it because I know they're coming back. Yeah. It's when you finally realize they're not, that's when it hits you. And it takes a minute. Yeah. It takes that one real thing where it's like, I can't call him. Mm. So yeah, I mean, I remember that moment very specifically. And I had friends in the industry that lost their dad that told me that would happen. They were like, it happened to us months down the road, same thing. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. Never thought about it. When it did, I was like, man, they warned me about that, and they were right.
Why is it important though to let that process play out, and also not to? I guess what I'm trying to say here or ask is, there's a lot of, at least in what we're seeing, a lot of criticism when men talk about the fact that, hey, I broke down and I started crying because I lost a parent or whatnot. It's like, no, you're not supposed to. You're a man.
Yeah.
But you're openly saying, hey, this is what happened to me. And you talk about it from the lens of, it happened to me and I felt better afterwards. What would you say to the guys out there who are holding on to things and won't let themselves feel it?
Well, I guess you'd have to ask them why first. Why are you doing that? Is someone in your life making fun of you for doing that? Is someone criticizing you for doing that? If that's the case, then you're surrounding yourself with horseshit people. Mm-hmm. But I get, this world's so crazy right now too, man, with social media and there's everything. We all start believing we can change our entire beliefs off of a post, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I think that comes back to having that core friendship of something solid, something to stand on, something to fall back on. And it doesn't have to be a group of people. It could be one person, but I think it's your goal in life. You need to find someone that you can vent to. Every cowboy's got to cry too. I mean, I believe that. And I'm not about gender roles or anything, but yeah, men are supposed to be tougher, right? That's the idea, and you can still be. That doesn't. I don't think crying makes you weak. I've never thought that.
Yeah,
I've never thought that. I think, and not to push it on the cliche side, crying makes you tough. It's just crying is just human. It's just what you do. I don't think there's any
outlet.
Yeah, I don't know where that got construed. Maybe in the 50s and stuff back in the time. It was just like, men need to do this, women do that. But I never felt that way. My dad was tough, but I saw him cry when he needed to. I mean, he was definitely a man. He was a man's man, and but he never didn't cry when he needed to. Yeah. It wasn't something that was hidden. We men just don't cry as much too. Like we handle things differently for the most part. Some do, but generally it's just kind of the way we're wired. Biologically, we deal with a lot of shit here. That's why we men go crazier a lot of times. It's just there's a lot to it. I mean, we're just built different, and so we hold a lot in. But getting older, it's just so much better to let it out and to have those. You have to have those nights with your friends, just to vent. Venting's so healthy. Same with therapy. Like, people are always scared to go to a therapist or something. And I'll admit I've been that guy. I was like, I don't need it. I got my own therapy in my mind. It's fine. I can handle it until like you can have a different type of therapy. You don't have to lay down on a couch and have them guide your life. You can just go to somebody and just talk.
Just talk to them.
Just talk to them. Like I went for the first time like a couple months ago and loved it, man. She didn't give me advice on how to fix any of this shit. She knew that I could do that myself. She just listened, and it was awesome. And I have friends that'll do that too, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I think it's important to. That doesn't make you crazy. People have that stigma of, oh, you're crazy if you go to this. If you try to better yourself, you're crazy. That's crazy.
Which is crazy in itself. So, yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of rambling.
No, but it's all valid points. I don't understand why guys would not want to better themselves. Why would you not want to become a better version of you?
It's stubborn old ways, and just like anything. it's not that it was wrong back then. It's just we're learning more now. We're learning a lot more. There's a lot more people on this earth. There's a lot more shit to deal with these days than there was 50 years ago. There's just a lot more, and with that technology comes, learning more of how to handle it. Back, if I want to go back to the Bible times, I mean, shoot, you don't have a computer, you don't have a cell phone, you don't have, the cheating going around, like, you don't have all these distractions on earth. I mean, there's back then, but it's like, well, yes, it was very easier to have those roles back then because there wasn't as much to do every day.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. There wasn't, you can't go to a ball game down the road. There wasn't things that changed your perspective all day long. It was like work, eat, live.
Yeah.
And so now it's different. So like, yes, we're going to be different. So I think it's just catching up. I think some people are still behind and some people are too far ahead. I think people need to meet kind of in the middle of what's actually sane and what's healthy.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's trying to figure that out. I definitely don't have that answer, but I know what works for me is, like you said earlier, slow down, get back to your roots. And I think you'll figure it out from there. I think when you're trying to better yourself, the world helps. The world helps out. I truly believe that, and the energy around that. I truly believe that. If you're trying to better yourself, it'll work.
Your dad was in the Air Force?
Granddad was in the Air Force. Dad was not in the military.
Gotcha.
No, yeah.
What is it about the military? You also had a similar interview where you talked about your affection for people who serve.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, especially, America. I mean, I think America and Canada are similar in a lot of ways. I mean, we definitely have different political things, but as far as the freedom aspect of it and fighting and people dying for it, and it's whether it was for the right causes or not, we don't always know. There's especially some of the shit we've gone to war for. It doesn't really matter because someone did go and die for that. And so to not have respect for someone that did, whether they knew what they were fighting for or not, it was all under this circle of for my country, for freedom. So whether they were right or wrong, or whether they should have had the insight, oh, that was a stupid war, they believed that, and they were doing that selflessly for the belief that this is helping the benefit our country for freedom.
And in most cases, it's not like they really had a choice.
Yeah,
right?
and
like they're
especially
not the ones
back,
deciding where they're going.
Exactly. And in a lot of cases, I mean, especially back then when there was a draft, you didn't have a choice.
Right.
And a lot of people, military is the last option for them. Like, it's like it's that or homelessness. And that's how a lot of military happens. So there isn't always a lot of choice. So when you think about that human being that's going out there scared to death, I just respect it. I just respect it. I've got to respect how terrifying that's got to be to go into battle, to go into war, and see what they've seen and deal with it.
I couldn't imagine.
I can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine. I didn't do it. I did not sign up to do any of that, and so it's just respect is really all it is. You can have your beliefs, and I respect your beliefs. Anybody's on it all, but military it's wild. And I just have the utmost respect for anybody that's in it, for what they have to do to train through their lives, and then what they have to deal with when they come home. Because you want to talk about that mental side of be tough. Well, that's what they're wired to do. Yeah. And so that's why you see all this craziness. And I don't think, personally, in our government, that they have enough help for what they went and did. And they don't give them enough help when they come back. It's kind of sad and ridiculous. And that's why you see bad cases and craziness and mental illness. PTSD and just
it makes sense though. Like, you can't even, as much as you might think what they might see, it's worse too, and it's
worse.
And you have to act like it's nothing, and you don't get the same thing. You don't get any time to process it because it's okay. Next thing, got to keep moving. Or don't talk about this. And then
don't talk about this, and then they have to. I've gotten to do a bunch of military stuff, charity work, and sometimes creative vets is this really awesome thing where you get to write songs with military, and they'll that's the only time they sometimes open up. Like, it's pretty cool, and they'll start telling a crazy story just to get it out in song. And some of the family members, he's never said this ever, and this is the first time we've ever heard this story, and it's I don't know why, but when there's a guitar involved, sometimes they feel like opening up. But there's also this thing that I heard talking to them that there's this like if they open up when they get home, that they're going to disappoint their friends that aren't opening up, which is like, I didn't even think about that dynamic, but that's real to them. It's like, oh my gosh, this is something that's sacred to us that we keep close. Do not share this with other people.
Sure, yeah.
And then if they want to do that to be mentally, to help them, then they're going to piss off their buddy that they went to battle with. And I was like, man, gosh, I wouldn't even think about that other layer of just,
it's the unseen layer that we don't comprehend.
That's just a whole nother thing they have to deal with. Yeah, on top of what they dealt with, now they don't want to disappoint their buddy that they dealt with it with. It's like, dude, that's just how complicated that is. And so I don't know. I think military deserves to be respected, and then like anybody, they also deserve to respect. You don't come like you chose. If in this day and time you choose to go there, so don't come back with an arrogance. But you do deserve, my respect. I will, do anything I can do, for you, and as long as there's that mutual respect there. And for the most part, what I've seen, it's just a bunch of people trying to figure out how to talk about it, just like anything. And they just need someone to say it's okay. And guitars and golf have helped in my sense with that, because everybody get out there, have a couple bourbons, start swinging the club around, then everyone starts feeling happy. It's that camaraderie, that friendship, that feeling a part of something else that helps.
Well, don't they say that golf was invented for men to just have a reason to talk to each other?
Hey, man, you know what? That's why we do it. That's why I get out there. God, I mean, it's the most frustrating game in the world, but it gives me 5 hours to just be with my buddies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And then just seeing who my granddad was, too, as part of military, he was able to separate the two. But I know a lot of people can't. And so I did get to see the good side of that and get some of the good the discipline part of it, which is good. We need discipline. This world needs discipline again. We are lacking in discipline. We can do whatever we want whenever we want, and that's just not the case. I think we need a good amount of discipline, and that's truly just respecting each other.
Yeah.
And so we're getting there. We're getting better.
Slowly but surely.
America's 400 years old. That's 4 people. I think we're doing pretty good with 4 people. Yeah. We're working on it. We got a lot to work on, but with 4 people, I think we're doing okay. We're getting there.
Do you feel a sense of responsibility because of these things? Because these things are so important to you. Do you feel a sense of responsibility to use your platform, your music, to speak to people in this way?
Yeah, that's always my thing, especially when it comes to politics and stuff.
So you're passionate about these things.
I'm very passionate, but also I don't know that I'm right. And so I do understand that people, for whatever reason, listen to what I say sometimes. And I don't want to say something that I might feel now that 2 years later I learned that I'm wrong at, and someone listen to me and take that as like solid advice. I don't think that that's my job. It's not my job to tell people my opinions on politics or stuff like that. If you ask me, I will, but I'm not going to come out and just tell you because it's how I feel that day. I actually, sometimes I want to. I'm like, if something happened, I'm like, I want to speak my mind on that. And I'm like, no, it's not. I don't want to do that, because if you're ignorant, and I could be ignorant, that I'm putting poison out. I don't want to put poison out. I'm always down for conversations. If you want to talk, I'll have a talk and we can learn. But me putting out an emotion, I don't think that's what they mean with great power comes great responsibility. I think the responsibility is shut your mouth. I truly do. No one, unless it's something that's just obvious, that's just very blatant obvious.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of divisiveness going on in our lives, and it's just we're all trying to figure it out.
Right.
And so a hot take, it might not be the right take. And
well,
so
it also goes back to the point you made of, you say the wrong thing, suddenly the people you're responsible for might lose
absolutely
income.
That too. And again, I like this. I love having this conversation. This is how it should happen. These are like talk, open up. But yeah, I'm not going to push any agenda on my own. Just not for me. I mean, if somebody else wants to do it, fine. I like standing a chance at meeting someone before they've already made a perception of me.
Right.
I like giving everyone a chance that way. I'd rather have that chance with someone too. Even if I'm completely disagreeing with somebody, I'd rather if we do this, then I find that we don't really disagree.
Right.
But if I think I already know what you believe in or this, then we don't stand a chance when we sit down here.
Yeah.
It's because it's so warped now. There's just people have always had different opinions, and still been great friends.
Sure.
But now it's so polarizing.
Sometimes you can't even have conversations.
You can't have
friends.
a conversation, yeah, because people have already made up their mind on shit. When it's like, if we just sit down and talk, we're probably going to meet in the middle on 90% of everything.
Yeah.
The 10% is what we think is devastating, and it really isn't.
Yeah.
I think when it's like it gets because people might take your opinion as a fact.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like Mitchell's saying that this is what it is. Like, no, just like, and it's crazy because when you get to your level, it's like it's hard to have an opinion because like everybody has an opinion on things.
Yeah.
And because you're not an expert on it, it's like, no, it's just my opinion. I know I can be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll be even saying I can be wrong, but people just hear that, oh yeah, that's a fact now. This is what he is, and you say that, and it's built into a whole other thing. Sometimes it's just easier to just be like, I don't want to get involved in that.
And that's what I do. You're right. That's what you said. I don't want people to take my opinion as a fact. It's not. The only thing that I have as a fact is I got a song coming out. That's all I know. And like, do you like it or not? That's a fact. Like, is it working or not? That's a fact. Where I'm at in life and what I believe at 34 is not what I believed at 30. It's not what I believed at 25.
You're growing.
So for me to come out and take that stance it's kind of just selfish. I've like, it's a waste of time.
Yeah. Is there a difference between your public facing persona and the private?
Honestly, not really. I kind of got to start early with saying that I have a sense of humor, and I just like.
I've seen some of the videos.
Yeah, I like to push the boundaries on shit like that. Like if I'm not here to try to offend people, but if you're offended by something that I don't think's offensive, then it's just we're just gonna disagree. Like I try to be very wide open, but things that I think are funny or that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And then like just in real life, like we can meet, but we probably wouldn't sit at the same lunch table because you'd be sitting at the lunch table with the friends that those conversations you like. And it's fine. Like you always will welcome it, but you always go off into your groups. Everyone has their groups because you fit in with what you fit in with.
You don't have to agree.
Yeah, you don't have to agree. Like I just don't get this why all of a sudden everyone thinks everyone has to agree or we hate each other and can't hang out.
Yeah.
I've never grown up that way. I've always like, especially like in politics, like I've always grown up with literally both sides. I've always grown up with both sides left and right of me. I've been in the music industry.
Yeah.
My whole life. Like
you're gonna come across.
Yeah, it just was never polarizing like that to me. It was like, oh, who are you voting for? Who are you voting for? Cool. Whatever. It was never like, oh my God, you're that or you're it was never that until the last 8 years of my life.
Yeah.
It truly wasn't. Like it wasn't. I don't even remember it. It wasn't even like that when I was in college. Like even when it was Obama versus like it didn't even feel like that then to me.
Yeah.
It feels like as of recently it's just completely gone this crazy way of like,
and with everything too.
It's not just politics, it's everything, man. Like women's rights. I mean, just every single thing that you could possibly think of. Gender, women's rights. I mean, everything in the world, it has to be a problem right now.
It's like you have to either be here or here. It's like you're not allowed to be in the middle.
Yeah, there's no middle. There's no like, hey, why don't like here's where my middle is. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you believe in. Are you a good person?
Yes.
Or at least trying to be a
good
good person.
Are you a good person?
Yeah.
Like I don't care if it's anything. If you're not a good person, I don't want to hang out with you.
Regardless.
It has nothing to do with what gender or color of skin, nothing like that. If you suck, you suck, dude. Like you just suck. And I don't have to like you just because you're not white.
Yeah.
Like I hate that shit. Like it's like, dude, I will love you if you're awesome.
Yeah.
And I want the same respect. If I suck, then dude, like I don't want anything. I just hate it. It's like it's silly, man. It's like, are you a good person? Then I'll like you. Then we'll have a great conversation. If you're not malicious to people and you don't want to hurt people, and then we can all find some middle ground there, man. It's nuts, dude. It really is.
The world needs more people like you.
No, man. World needs to. I wrote a song recently that said the world could use a drink. I think we all could sit down at a bar and have a good conversation here pretty soon, man. It's refreshing, and I'm really enjoying this conversation with you guys. Thank you guys. It's refreshing to see people that they get it. Like, be patient, take your time. Like, it's okay. We all come from so completely different backgrounds. I know we all do.
Yeah.
And so that meet in the middle is what's fun for me. That is my favorite part about this industry. I get to meet so many different people from my bubble of growing up in a Christian, high school to play football, like to get out of that bubble and to meet people that didn't grow up with Christianity, didn't grow up with, believed in something completely different. Oh, you don't believe in God at all. Oh my God, you're not Satan. You're a really good person.
Yeah.
You're a decent person that's done a lot for life. You're not going straight to it's just insanity to me what I grew up with. Yeah. So if you would have asked me that question back then, I would have sounded like a complete asshole right now. Yeah. I don't believe that way anymore. But it takes time, and it takes time. Doesn't take a timeline on your freaking Instagram. It takes time to figure that out, man.
Real time.
Man.
Meeting
like
real
that.
people.
Absolutely.
Real conversations.
That's what you have to have. I think that's the beauty of the long form content, which is
nice.
It's slowly starting to make it way back. Everything's so short with the clips and the 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds. It's like when you have that long conversation, you really get to see how someone's brain works. And so it's like when might say something like maybe at minute 27, but you can understand where they're coming from if you listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, oh man, yeah.
Can you imagine
context, dude?
Yeah,
100%. That's the thing. There's never any context. People don't care about context anymore.
I love how you said that. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Can you imagine if we had 20 minutes to have this conversation? What could we possibly understand about you in 20 minutes? Even an hour. We're only going to scratch the surface of who you are as a person.
And that's more than I ever get.
I imagine.
That's why I try to keep it strictly business to music and try to tell, give you little snippets in the songs. And then if the stars align and we get to meet and talk, then that's what we get to do. And but everyone doesn't have access to that. We don't always have access to each other. We're not supposed to. All of a sudden we've been granted unlimited access to everyone. That's not how the world works. Yeah. That's why we're going crazy. Yeah. Because we weren't supposed to know how different we all are. But we are.
That's a really
and now everyone's freaking out. They're like, oh my God, I had no idea. Yeah. Because you would have to actually go somewhere, meet that person, sit down and talk with them. Now you can just see them on a freaking screen and make an assumption. And it's like, I don't think we were made to have this much access.
No. If you don't see them and make an assumption, like you sent a message and didn't respond. Oh, you didn't respond right away. You must be this. It's like, maybe I just clicked up my phone and put it down. Like just because I see your message doesn't mean I have to respond right away.
That's a new thing for me is learning.
It's hard.
Yeah, learning that barrier of just because my phone went off or you texted me doesn't mean
or even that I read.
Are y'all dealing with that too? Yeah.
It's like when you read it, it's like you got to respond. It's like, well,
why am I on call to the world?
Yeah. I read your message. When? I'll get back. I'll
I will get back to you when I've formulated that thought or I'm ready.
Maybe I'm just not smart enough to respond.
Well, see, to me, I hate seeing the number on the how many emails or how many texts.
Oh yeah.
Some just do it to open it up.
But then I'll forget and then I'll have that guilt. Oh, I didn't respond quick enough. I do respond very quickly, and I've been guilty of why isn't this person responding? And I hate that. How stupid is that? Because now I don't respond all the time either, and that's just such a double standard. I'm calling myself out on it. It's just why? Where does that come from? It's just the day and time we live in. The fast access, everything has to be boom, boom, boom. And I have been working on that recently, where I'll do unread. I'll see it and then I'll click unread so that I get back to it. Mm-hmm. And I've been able to cope with that, seeing that little dot down there and understand that there's things to get back to. But I have been saying I don't need to answer this right now. I don't have the answer right now. I am writing a song right now. I don't need to answer this. I am in this interview. I don't need to do that. And so that has helped a lot, actually, to see that and to actually give time to a thought, to an answer. Give thought to it. That's another thing. Everyone wants an answer so quick. It's maybe it wasn't so thought out. Maybe it isn't exactly what you meant to say. You were just trying to say it really quickly. And so I have been working on that a lot, and it's made me feel a lot better. So in my phone right now, I've got 15 to get back to. And I'll get there. And I enjoy, and I love hearing y'all say that. It makes me feel this is what I love. I'm not alone in that.
100%.
The same thing, and that's awesome.
100%. Every day I wake up and I've got emails and texts, and throughout the day my phone's pinging, and I try to just respond to everything as quickly as possible.
Right.
And I realize sometimes I just can't. Sometimes I'll see the message, and I know I'm going to get to it, and my response to you has been put into a to-do list, and when I get to that part, then I'll respond to you.
I like that.
But I'm not, to your point, on call to everyone at all times. There's certain people in my life that if you message me, you're going to take priority.
Sure, of course,
but
absolutely.
Outside of that, you're going to have to wait. I don't owe you that time. You don't owe me your time.
That's beautiful. Amen. I love that. That's
so
right.
Tell me about your music, your tour, the one that you're currently on, what you've got coming up, albums, you name it.
Yeah, man. We we started recording some new songs for the next record or whatever we're gonna do next year. I'm on this Jason Aldean tour right now, which is a big tour. So getting to play arenas and big sheds, 15 to 25,000 people, which is crazy.
In a shed?
Yeah, and sheds like the Budweiser's.
That's considered a shed.
Yeah, so that's like 15, 16.
Okay.
That's what they call sheds in America. I don't know. The ones with the lawn. You got the amphitheaters.
Yeah.
They're called amphitheaters, but we call them sheds.
It used to be called Molson Amphitheater. Then
Yeah. They're amphitheaters. I think that's just a country term. I don't know. Shed. They're called sheds. I don't know.
I thought you meant like a.
No.
I'm thinking barn.
Amphitheaters is what we're talking about. Yeah, and then. No, I got the Luke Holmes tour next year. These are stadiums. I've gotten to play a few of those with him, like where the Seattle Seahawks play. I've gotten to play my hometown stadium where the Titans play. It's just nuts, man. It's just crazy that that many people want to come out and see music, and that we get to be the dudes on the stage doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't take that for granted. That's just so cool and so much fun, and I just want to be the best at it that I can be. Yeah. And so. I'm trying to get healthier now. Just I've let go the last couple of years after COVID. Man, that was a downtime. Man, that messed up a lot, and I'm just getting back to a great place and feeling great. And and when that happens, great things happen. Yes. Everything starts falling in line. When I full circle back to when we started talking. When I get healthy, great things start happening mentally. Like when I start getting there, it all starts happening. But when you bury yourself in a hole, everything seems bad. And so now, great things are happening. I'm about to approach my first anniversary on a year. I got that happening. It's been amazing.
Congrats.
Thank you. Like I said, on my birthday, mom calls, cancer free. My brother just had a baby. She's in the NICU, but she came early, but she's getting better every single day. And so just there's always something to complain about, but it's been a lot. It's been so much better to just look at the good stuff.
Yeah.
And there's so much more good. And so I mean just great stuff. Finishing this tour. It's been the hottest tour of my life, though. It's been hot as shit, man.
Like temperature hot.
Hot. It's so hot outside. I don't know why we tour these amphitheaters in the summer and arenas in the fall. It's like, let's do arenas in the summer and amphitheaters in the fall. But anyway, if I don't die of a heat stroke, hopefully through this tour we'll see you again soon. But I think we're on the tail end of it, though. It feels good, but it is hot here in Toronto.
Yeah, which is surprising.
Hot. Yeah. Random hot.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Just bringing bullshit weather.
Listen, I'll take it. If you came here last week, 2 weeks ago,
was it cold?
It was cold, raining. Like we've had a gloomy summer.
Chilly. You wouldn't say it's cold.
I get cold easy. It was cold. I like this kind of weather.
It's just way too hot for me.
Yeah, I'm a bigger dude, so it's hot for me. But it's not as humid up here as it is in Nashville. That humidity is a blanket in Nashville in the South, which are where a lot of the country tours are. We played in Georgia the other weekend, dude. It was, I mean, you were just drenched. I mean, it was a wall of just water in the air. It was absolutely nuts. But
we gotta take a trip down to Nashville.
Yeah, come to that, man. We'll I will show you Nashville, the native side of Nashville, man.
I heard it's a good time.
I've heard it's a great time. It's a great hockey town.
It's the best time of the year to go.
Yeah, it is. I would come in the fall. Because of the weather. Right now it's just hot, but it's on the tail end. So here in about a month.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be the best time to come. You got just so much to do now. So much to do. It's such a melting pot now. We have we growing up, we had like Applebee's and Chili's to eat. I don't know if y'all have that here, but just like
Applebee's, I think.
Yeah,
I've heard of Chili's. I don't know if you had.
Yeah, it's the same. They're the same thing, kind of. And now we have like everything to eat. I mean, we have everything to do, see all the sports teams. Yeah. I mean, we're about to bring a baseball team there, Nashville Stars.
Are you?
Here in a couple years. Yeah, nice. I'm working on I get to be a part of that. Bring them here, so I'm stoked on that.
Like part of the ownership group?
Yeah, yes, I'll be a part of the whole thing.
Wow,
so
congrats.
I'm super stoked about that.
Is there a team relocating, or is this an expansion team?
Probably going to be an expansion. We'll see. It depends on a couple things on a couple other teams right now. But Nashville is where they want it. It's just a booming city. We're redoing our stadium for the Titans.
Yeah.
Broadway, it's just becoming a massive play. People want to come down there and see the music on Broadway and hang out and just check out Nashville and check out the food. So come hang, man. I'm proud of my city. It wasn't like this growing up, and it's really cool. The traffic sucks now. It's become like L.A., but it's
or Toronto.
Yeah, we're Toronto, honestly. It's been crazy. Terrible. But it's a great place, man. And in you go 15 minutes out, you're in the country, and it's beautiful hills, and it's just gorgeous. It's green out there.
Beautiful. Yep. We got to go down to Nashville.
Definitely. Come on.
Definitely. Mitchell, thank you so much, brother.
Man, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you guys.
No, thank you. We enjoyed this. You're doing incredible things.
Thank you, man.
And you should be proud of yourself, because I'm sure that your family, your dad, everyone would be proud of you, are proud of you.
It means a lot.
And keep being you, because I think we need more people like you in this world. And the fact that you have the ability to use your voice and your artistry to spread that kind of a message, I think it's important. And
thank you.
We're rooting for you. We're on Team Mitchell the whole way.
Man, that means a lot. Y'all same, man. You got a new friend here. I got you guys.
No, I appreciate it. Mitchell, thank you so much,
boys. Thank y'all.
Thank you, everybody.